with the school, and think about, we're going to get a cash savings of $15,000 or $20,000 for funding the project up front. I bet you could even work your magic with that a little bit more, Pat. People like to get prepaid. Yeah, you could probably mitigate it pretty substantially, but point taken. Look, there's two different, that's why financing companies exist. There's no right and wrong answer. It's going to be 6 and 1/2 and the other. I think the biggest benefit, John, to answer your original question about where I actually stand on this, is that you get steady budget numbers, and I think that's important. Or to me, I should say, not to us.
I will say, Pat, if you can correct me in terms of, even if we put 200,000 towards this engine, we only have 200,000 in the fund now, right? And how much is the actual cost? 800 or 7?
Roughly 670.
700?
670,000.
670. So we're going to have 400,000 in the kitty. If we commit to the engine, we still have another 270,000.
We'll have, if we pass it this year, we'll have 480 in the kitty. So we'll have to pass another $200,000 in 2022
to buy that engine.
To have the engine delivered, essentially, yes.
And have it delivered. And then we got another engine coming up.
The other engine is in 33, so theoretically the
So if we keep doing 200,000.
Yes.
We might, okay.
If we keep at 200,000, we should be in fairly good shape for full fleet replacement whenever necessary and voted on by the Board of Selectmen and Fire Engineers.
Okay, plus inflation.
Correct. Yeah. At 2035, we started to factor in some inflation numbers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a potential that you could we could order this thing for delivery to start payment in 2022?
Yes. So essentially, the payment start date would start whenever we requested. So we would order the truck. We would not, on the paperwork I sent out, there's no payment until September of 22. So that gives us 3 months buffer on delivery. So we wouldn't pay until we actually received the truck on the financing.
You're talking about buying it outright?
No, if we signed a finance agreement, they would pay for the truck up front to build it.
Either way.
So we would get the prepayment discount. And then we would not make a payment as a town until, I picked September as a buffer period of the truck actually being delivered in case there were delays in construction. So we would not pay for the truck until it was here. We'd make no payment. So we'd be a year payment free.
Pat, September 2022 or 2021?
22.
How long did it take us to get to the 281,000?
Yeah.
Like, how much did we put in last year? Do we know? I'm just trying to think of how long it took us.
100,000 in last year.
I'm sorry, how much?
100.
One of the big things that we were struggling with over the last couple of years is the vehicle repair and replacement were in the same capital account. So any major repair would actually steal money from replacing a truck down the road. So last year, if you remember, we separated those into 2 different accounts to try to help defer that funding.
So we put $100,000 in the vehicle replacement fund, Jen.
Right. So you put 100,000 in the vehicle for the engines, and then you put 50,000 in for the ambulance. So essentially, you're putting 150,000 away now, if you want to consider it that. So we would just be bumping it up to 200,000.
250, Chief.
I'm sorry, 250 to keep everything on a level that everything's paid for. Cash.
So if we buy it outright, we've got money now, about 280 or so. We're going to pay 200,000 this year and 200,000 next year.
Which is supposed to do before you shut it down. So when you just shut down off of Zoom, like on the top of here, Martha, just go where it says end. Just end it.
Okay, I'm going to have to talk over them. So it's going to cost us, buying it outright, Pat, will cost us 200,000 this year and 200,000 next year.
Correct.
And then that's paid for.
Correct. It is paid. It basically zeroes the capital outlay account.
Yeah.
It leaves somewhere around $10,000-11,000. So it pretty much zeroes that account.
Capital
Buying
reserve.
it,
Capital reserve, yes, I'm sorry.
leasing it's going to cost us 66.4 a year plus $100,000 down.
Correct,
So we're paying 166,000. Well, the next lease doesn't come for next year.
correct.
So right now, the motion is to buy it outright. That gives us the option of leasing again if we can't catch up with a replacement plan. Leasing it leases the truck at a low interest rate and gives us breathing room to add to the replacement fund. So perhaps we can go away from leasing in the future.
Correct.
Um,
And there's no penalty if for some reason we had extra funds or we had a good year, if you wanted to pay it off early as well.
Okay.
No
on the
prepay
truck.
penalty.
Correct.
John, is it appropriate if I can ask for a selectman's point of view on why they recommended the 200K and not the lease?
That's very appropriate. Go ahead. Get a comment on that from one of the selectmen? Go ahead, Martha. You can speak for them. Okay, yeah, Ted's there.
I see Mike's there too.
Ted
Ted's there.
and Mike is there. What's your thinking on that? Why buy now
can-
rather than lease?
John, if you'd like. In a nutshell, the selectmen were just trying to save as much money as we could for the town. Of course, everyone's in favor of getting a new engine 5. It's just a question of how.
Mhm.
And when we originally heard the $90,000 in interest, the selectmen thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could just put funds into the capital reserve, spread it out over the 2 years, but still order it next year or this year. So that was, I think,
Yes, that was a consensus. But that was that's what the vote of the board.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we're paying about 2.66% of kind of this sheet on interest. So basically, it was come up with the money now, save the interest.
Right.
If I might speak, Mr. Lamson,
Sure.
we also, there's one other item that you're not discussing as part of this process, is the $60,000 we're spending now for the purchase of the truck we're going to be paying off this year. If you deduct that from the 200,000, now you're only really putting away 140,000, and it's relatively inexpensive in the long run, like the chief said, because you can either lease it, purchase it, or purchase it outright, and it's going to cost the town less money. We did have a survey done, 67-page survey on the fire department. They recommended this type of process to move forward to replace the equipment and keep the equipment up to date. So that's why we did it.
So the recommendation was that we fund it from town sources.
Right.
Essentially a capital outlay for the fleet replacement. Yep.
Okay. Ultimately, we're going to have to pay. It's a matter of how we want to space it out. This year, we probably have the money. We don't know 4 or 5 years from now what it'll be like. So is there's a motion on the floor, and that motion is to buy it outright by putting 200,000 in this year. And we understand that we'll have to come up with another 200,000 next year to finish the purchase. That's the motion on the floor. Are we ready to vote on that? Now, we vote that down, we presumably will go to the other option. John? Do you have a
So
comment
the
on
other
that?
option is what, the borrowing money option? So-
Borrowing the money option, yeah.
Oh, okay, so we're voting on doing the, let's save up the money, the piggy bank option.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this in one vote, so it's
Okay.
clear. You got to do one or the other.
Yeah,
If you refuse them both, we're not going to be able to replace the fire truck. So
All right. yes, I
responsibly, we
understand.
need to do that. But
Okay.
Any other questions on this? Are we ready to vote? Understand what you're voting on? You're voting on accepting Article 2 and rejecting Article 3.
Mr. Chair,
And that
can I
agrees
just,
with the selectmen, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure of that, yeah, okay. So we're basically agreeing with the selectmen that buying it outright this year makes the most sense. Are we ready to vote?
hold on,
Yeah, go,
Mr.
Emily.
Chair. Sorry, I just one clarification question that's been said a couple of times.
Mhm.
So the $200,000 would be going, that's one option, but there's 60,000 of that that's being paid out for the rest of some sort of equipment
So
or,
N2 right now this is its last year of payments and it'll be paid off. because that was financed as well. Engine two.
It's not coming out of the capital.
That's not coming out of capital.
Okay, okay, I just wanted to clarify that. And then, so basically we're looking at the difference of putting $200,000 away versus paying, I think somebody said 160,000 a year, is that correct?
No.
It's
60.
it's
It would be
66,400 a year.
66, okay, thank you.
But we have
for
to
the
make a down
clarification.
payment of about what, 100,000 or something?
So we don't have to make any down payment. They will finance it with no money down. I
Okay,
just thought that the down payment seemed like the better idea, but they
Sure.
will recalculate that with no money
Sure.
down if we want that.
I mean, in the end, it's whether you want to borrow the money or not, or save the money. And it's, you know, it's going to change your tax rates a little bit. You're going to pay a little bit more in these first 2 years, and theoretically, then you'll save some in the the down years, the out years.
I have a concern though, Chairman.
Yeah.
We've gone through, and the fire department is the fire department is the fire department. They are responsible for all their predecessors' mistakes. And that's what the duty and cross they bear. We have been told about how we're going to save money by purchasing this and purchasing that for 10 years. And it's easy to say, well, we didn't make that decision. We're getting on the right track now. And we've had this conversation a couple of times. I'm not picking on anybody, but no, we have to, as a budget committee, we have to say, no, this is the fire department. This is what we've been told all these times. And we keep saying, if we keep laying out big amounts of money, we're going to get the savings. We're going to get the savings. And we never do. We keep replacing these engines. So I got you. I think we're on the right track. I wholeheartedly believe in you guys. But at the same time, every single time that what we're promised in the budget committee doesn't come true and happen, the taxpayers bear it. It's not the budget committee. It's not the fire department. It's the taxpayers. They're the ones that make up the difference. And so my point, I'm going to vote no on 2 and therefore yes on 3, because I think leveling out the budget, not giving options and having a plan that lasts 25 years is probably the most prudent way to go. That's actually holding any chair, chief, department accountable for the entirety. So that's the route I'm going to go. And I can perfectly understand and respect everybody else's opinions on it. If you don't want to pay the interest, I get you. I said that last year, so I got you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is everybody ready to vote? Is it all clear? All right, I'll have Martha call the roll. And remember, the motion would accept Article 2 and reject Article 3. By that, I mean recommend to the town. Okay, Martha, would you call the roll?
Here we go. Ted Connors.
Yes.
Samara Robertson. James Belanger. Emily Savinelli.
Yes,
John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Alan Wilson.
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner.
Yes.
Sandra Sweeney. She's left, I'm sorry. William Wright.
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal.
Nay.
John Lamson.
Yes.
That's a vote.
Okay, thanks very much. And as I say, that covers us for Article 2 and Article 3. The next one is Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $132,000 for major road works. And by the way, there are 2 of these, and it mostly just the 2 different articles because the income comes out of 2 different budget years. The tax income. We're voting on the 2021 tax year in Article 4, and that's a larger amount for 132,000. Any questions on that? The balance is 407,000 now before either of the 2 articles have been decided on. Any questions on that?
Yeah, this is Jen. I have a question. So
Sure.
it's coming out of the unassigned fund balance. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. That's right, Martha?
Yes, these are funds that Eversource is paying the town that will lapse into the undesignated fund balance, but the budget committee told us last year that you wanted to have a purpose for the funds that were received from Eversource. And the selectmen had proposed that the purpose would be putting these funds into the Major Roads Capital Reserve Fund. And that's what you did last year, and they're recommending it again.
And how much is in the unassigned fund now?
407,000.
No, that's the capital reserve.
Oh, I'm sorry, you asked for unassigned fund.
Yeah.
I believe it's 2.3 million.
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking is why wouldn't we have, if we're saying that this 132, it can come from an unassigned fund, why wouldn't we have used some of the unassigned fund to lower the tax rate? If we've got 2.3 unassigned, right?
Right, we did use some of the funds to lower the tax rate, absolutely.
Right. And that was 175,000 of it though, right? I think is what was used. So I'm just trying to make a point here. I appreciate the fact that it's, won't raise the tax rate because it's coming from money that already exists that's in the unassigned fund. But I guess I'd like to make the point that if we have a balance that's 2.4 million unassigned, the fact that we raised our taxes by 55 cents, I wish that we could have used a greater amount of the unassigned fund to offset that tax increase.
And I should clarify, you see how there are two articles? There's an article that talks about the 2021 revenue. We don't have that money yet. We will get that during the course of 2021. But we do have the 2020 revenue of 55,000. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's,
Could.
I think with,
Oh.
I'm sorry, Emily, was that?
Sorry. Yeah, if I could.
Yeah, sure.
Two things. One is to Jen's point, I think that, I'm disappointed to see that we're, all of our taxes went up and then we're taking money that could have been used to offset taxes for roads when, I understand, but at the same time, we're talking about roads again. Can you tell me what so it says the 12/31/20 balance was 407,620.12. Can you, but that was prior to the Woodbury payment to the state of New Hampshire. Can you update us on the total to date? Has that payment been made?
The state is billing us in portions. We have 170,000 roughly that's been billed to us that we're anticipating paying in the next 3 weeks. And there is, I was looking for the details. It's the total bill is 270,000 or so.
Left to pay.
Total.
That.
So that'd be another 100,000, right?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Now, remember that this is money coming from Eversource, so we don't have it yet. So it can't be applied to taxes till we get it, if we were to reject this.
Yeah,
Yeah, Brandon.
no, it just doesn't, I guess it doesn't make sense to me where we put it in the capital reserve and say we just offset the tax base when it comes in. So like to offset the highway department budget or something like that. This doesn't make really good sense why we wouldn't use it.
Okay. We vote on a budget and then this is anticipated revenue. So you could put in the budget and then the tax rate set by the state kind of based on what we've got to come up with. So when do they set the tax rate, Martha? This is before or after we get the money?
In September, the tax rate would be set and we would have estimated revenues for the year, that being the 132,000 for this upcoming tax rate.
which is set in September.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, all right, then you could put it directly against the tax rate
Yes,
without putting it in the capital reserve fund.
right.
Okay. So there's your answer. Yeah. Yes,
I
Emily?
just have one more question. So how much did we put in this fund last year? I mean, is this is something that we're funding every year, correct? To try to continue, try to stay on the plan that the Rockingham Planning Commission put out? Is that what the idea of this is?
Right.
Okay.
So what went in there? Special warrants,
132 last year.
132,000, and the total fund balance is almost 500,000.
Yes. But we have to deduct the cost of Woodbury out of that, but yes.
Okay, you got a balance of 407,000 on this sheet. And the total Woodbury is, we owe the state, what, 270 for Woodbury?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would bring it down, if the 407 is accurate, then it's down to like 137,000.
Mm-hmm.
Up to the major road work, okay. All right, so it's they're two separate articles. The other one, the money is already in the cap, it's probably already in the unassigned balance, because that's from 2020. That's older money, that's old money that we have. You know, if you're serious about the tax rate, I would consider using Article 5 instead of Article 4. But that's just my opinion. Right now, I mean, we're going to vote on these separately. Is there any further discussion on Article 4? Okay, so we're going to vote on Article 4. Do we have a motion there? I think the motion is normally to recommend, and then we'll vote against. We won't recommend. Yep.
John, I'll ask a question and then make a motion. If is a no vote that it doesn't go into the capital reserve fund, it just stays in the general fund?
It stays in the unexpended balance fund.
Unassigned. Okay. Yes, I make the motion.
Now, I want to just say as a standard I've done that I always move the selectmen's recommendation, because that's what appears on the warrant, so that we vote against it, you know, rather than flipping the motion, if that's okay. And if you want to you can make the motion, Brandon, and then we can vote against it if people want to reject it.
Yeah. So I'll move that we accept the Article 4 as written as recommended by the selectmen.
Okay. Is there a second? From John Chamberlain. So basically, we're voting to either recommend or not recommend to the town. If we vote against it, we're not recommending. We vote for it, we're recommending. Are we ready to vote? Okay, Martha, would you read the roll?
Ed Connors.
Yes.
Samara Robertson. James Belanger. Emily Savinelli. John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Alan Wilson.
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner.
No.
Sandra Sweeney. William Wright.
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal.
No.
John Lamson.
Yes.
How did Emily vote? I didn't hear that one on that one. How did Emily? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
All right, good. The next one is Article 5, which is similar. The selectmen are recommending that we put 55,000 into that same major roadwork capital reserve fund, and the money is coming out of money that's already in the unassigned balance that was generated in 2020. Any further questions? It's a very similar concept.
So I guess I have a question on process. Is how can we get that amount to be applied to the taxes for next year?
If we vote down this article, it would be applied, it would be available to be applied towards the tax rate. They would either, the selectmen could either use it against the tax rate, or they could leave it in the unassigned balance. They have that authority, but it won't be spent if we don't vote this article. You know, it won't go into reserve fund.
Can I ask for a justification from the budget committee of why we wouldn't apply it to the tax rate and we'd rather put it in the capital reserve?
You're talking about, you want that from the selectmen, I assume?
No, from the budget committee. We just approved the last one, so I'm curious to know the justification on the second one.
Oh, well, I mean, you'd have to poll the whole group. I think you're a bit out of order there. People can certainly speak to your question if people choose to. Emily?
Okay.
I will. I think that, so I'm torn. I think that they need to follow, we need to be trying to follow, we have a plan for the roads. We need to be trying to follow that plan. Otherwise, we're gonna end up replacing a whole road. So I think to John's point earlier, I think that this article number 5, I think, you know, we just put in 132 from the unassigned fund balance. I'm not in favor of putting in more money than that from the unassigned fund balance. But I think that first article, giving them that chunk of money to go ahead and get started with some of the projects in that plan.
This was my concern, Emily. The road maintenance that we have that's laid out by Rockingham County or whatever it was, the commission that put together, that's what's in the budget for the highway department. That's the ongoing maintenance year after year of how we keep up with the roads. That has nothing to do with the capital reserve fund that says, hey, if we have a disaster and we need to come up with some money, here's some money that's saved up there for the highway so we don't affect the tax rate. So when we just put $130,000 in there from Eversource into this fund instead of that doesn't have to do with the revolving Rockingham County plan of maintaining roads. It has to do for disaster planning at 600,000 now.
Right. Well, so it's at 539 with what we just voted. And then 270 of that is coming out for a payment to Woodbury Ave. So we won't have 500,000 after that's done, is my understanding.
Yeah, and that's already voted. We won't. We'll have about half of that. I think the difference is when you put money in a capital reserve fund, the selectmen have the authority to spend that. They don't have to go to the town. Basically, it's spent. You know, it's in reserve, but they have the authority to spend it. If it's in the unassigned balance, it has to be voted in the budget in a certain year. So that's basically the difference. Money is there, it's just a matter of where you want to put it. So we voted to put some money in this capital reserve fund for major road work. And now we have another article for an additional 55,000. If we don't, if we deny this one, the money will go into the, it'll remain in the unassigned balance. Yeah, Emily?
John, can I just have some clarification about something Brandon just said? And then, because I had asked on the last article, I had asked that if this was to go towards the Rockingham Planning Commission recommendations, and she said yes. So
well,
can I get some clarification on that?
Yeah,
I mean, I asked
guess,
that question and the answer
sure.
was yes, and now, yeah.
Right. Go ahead, Martha.
And we've still got the rest of Gosling Road to complete. Those funds would traditionally, being a major road, would come out of the capital reserve fund. So that's just one example, but our major roads still have to be kept up and paved, and it's going to take more, I believe, than just our regular budget, although the Rockingham Planning is very pleased with the amounts that we have in our regular budget too. So yes, I believe there absolutely is a need to meet the Rockingham Planning Commission plan using our capital reserve as well as our regular budget.
Okay, are there any further questions on Article 5? Okay, yes, Emily?
Sorry, can I ask one more question to Martha? So you believe that we need the 269 roughly $1,000 that we just gave, basically when you take out the Woodbury payment. So you think that we need another 55,000 in addition to that 269?
Yes.
Okay, any further questions? All right, I'll have Martha read the roll.
Ted
Yes,
Connor,
it's to recommend, by the way.
Yes.
Samara Robertson, James Belanger, Emily Savinelli,
No.
John Chamberlain,
Yes.
Alan Wilson, Jennifer Kent Weiner,
No.
William Wright, Brandon Arsenal, John Lamson.
Yes,
I'm afraid we don't have a quorum.
I didn't get Alan Wilson. Did he vote?
yes, he did.
And what'd he say?
Voted yes. I saw a thumbs up.
How about Bill Wright?
Is Bill here?
Yes, he is. Bill,
Yes, I'm sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Okay, and Brandon Arsenal, what did he vote?
No.
No, got it. Thank you.
I don't know that Brandon is on.
It was 5-2.
Oh, Brandon's not here?
He was here just a while ago.
He might have had to step
Halfway
away.
through that discussion, he logged out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. So that's,
I think he voted no, but I don't remember. If somebody else remembers.
He was not on the call for the vote.
okay, thank
All right, well,
you.
then you can't vote.
He's not waiting to get in, right? I just want to make sure that he's
Yeah,
not.
right.
And Samara's gone and Jamie Belanger's gone, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes and 2 no.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Brandon was waiting to get in. Brandon, could you give us your vote on the warrant article 5?
Oh, man, I'm gonna go no.
Okay.
You guys
right.
locked me out for I got so mad at Emily, I
I'm so
shut down.
Okay, good. Let's move on to Article, there's a number on that, Article recommended. 3, Article 5, Article 6. See if the town will raise $50,000 to purchase a new half-ton pickup truck for the fire department, replaces car 2. So this is an outright purchase, not a capital reserve. I'll take a motion on that to recommend. Anyone want to move? Emily, did you have a second? Second from Alan Wilson. Okay. Any discussion or questions on Article 6?
See, this is a good reason, John, why we should vote to finance the other ones. You can take some of that capital reserve that we already have. You could buy this truck. We wouldn't have to raise any money.
Yeah, right, but an article at least gets the town to vote on it.
Yeah.
EJ, what are you gonna use this truck for? It's gonna be a chief's truck or?
So yes, the silver, we call it the silver bullet, the Crown Victoria that we received from the PD. It was a used cruiser
Yeah,
years ago. It's going to replace that.
okay, all right. You know, again, as I remember, the plan for the fire department was to replace its sedans and SUVs with pickup trucks. I assume these are crew cab pickup trucks?
Yes, sir.
And the reason, as they explain later, is that you have a separate compartment that's
Correct.
separated so there's no noxious fumes or anything like
Correct.
that.
They're asking, the federal regulations are asking that we do not have any of our gear in the travel compartment
Yep, right.
in the front with us. So it's got to be in the back. So with this, where it would be a truck with a cap on it. it'd be-
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I mean, I'm okay with the town voting on that, whether they want to give the fire department a new truck or not. But
The upfront cost of a pickup truck is between $3,000 and $5,000 less too compared to an SUV on the state bid list. So
that's what I understand. They're cheaper than an SUV and they carry more. They're probably even a half ton. I don't know, it depends on the suspension, but yeah, it's a more appropriate vehicle, I believe, in this day and age. But, you know, that's my opinion. Any further questions on Article 6? We have motions, I believe, don't we?
Yes.
In a
Yes.
second to accept, okay.
Yeah.
If we're ready, I'll ask Martha to read the roll.
Ted Connor,
Yes.
Samir Robertson. Oh, we got a little feedback here, sorry.
Here we go.
James Belanger. Emily Savinelli.
Yes.
John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Ellen Wilson. Jennifer Kent Weiner.
Yes,
William Wright. Brandon Arsenal.
I'm a no, and I'll explain why at public hearing.
Okay, John Lamson.
Yes,
That's a vote.
okay, that's a vote. Very good. Thank you, folks. We'll move on to Article 7. And this is to appropriate $50,000 to be placed in the replacement of town ambulance and major medical equipment capital reserve fund. So this is $50,000. We've got a balance of 204.
Right, this is
Any-
one of our carryover items from the previous years. We were going to put 50,000 in this capital reserve each year. For
Each year.
3 years, so then we would have the 350 needed when
For new
it's,
ambulance?
yeah,
Okay. So this is the part of the pay-as-you-go program. We're putting money in for capital reserves, buying an ambulance. It's comparable to the fire truck, it's just not as expensive.
yeah.
Okay. Any further questions on Article 7? Okay, did I have a motion to accept Article 7?
No, you haven't yet.
Okay, I've got Emily and I've got Brandon seconding it. All
Got it.
right. Any further discussion on Article 7? Okay, all in favor, say yes. Martha, please read the roll.
Ted Connor.
Yes.
Samara Robertson. Emily Savinelli.
Yes.
John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Alan Wilson.
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner.
yes,
William Wright. Brandon Arsenal.
Yes.
John Lamson.
Yes. Okay, good. Move on to Article 8. That's to raise and appropriate $25,000. Major repairs of vehicles operated by the fire department capital reserve fund. Okay, we got 25,000 in the balance now. These are major repairs. Any discussion or questions on this?
I'm sorry, John, that you said the fund balance currently is 25,000?
Yes,
That's what it says, yeah.
You guys didn't use any of that money this year?
no. No, that was the fund that when we separated the replacement and repair last year. Yep,
Absolutely, but no major repairs this year.
no.
Great. What would be
Knock
the
on wood.
threshold of? Yeah, it's good. What would be the threshold of where you feel comfortable with having a fund?
50,000 tops, cap it.
50,000 tops?
Yep.
No brainer. All right, cool.
Okay, good. I think we need a motion for this. Could I have a
I'll take
motion?
it.
Okay, is there a second? Emily seconds it. Okay. Any further discussion on Article 8? Martha, if you'd read the roll.
Ted Connors.
Yes.
Samara Robertson. Emily Savinelli.
Yes.
John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Alan Wilson.
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner.
yes,
William Wright.
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal.
Yes.
John Lamson.
Yes. Okay, good. So the Article 9, and this is to place vote to raise and appropriate 25,000 to be placed in the town-wide reevaluation capital reserve fund. We've got about 25,000 and change in there now. Just how much, do I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Okay, and Brandon seconds. All right, how much does it cost for an evaluation?
$100,000.
Is it 100,000? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll be halfway there. Any further discussion or questions on this? If not, we can vote. Martha, if you would read the roll.
Ted Connors, Samara Robertson, Emily Savinelli,
Yes.
John Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ellen Wilson,
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner,
Yes.
William Wright,
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal,
Yes.
John Lamson.
Yes. Okay, it sounds like a vote. Article 10, I'd like a motion to put in $25,000 into the replacement of vehicles operated by the Highway Department Capital Reserve Fund. And further, to purchase the backhoe from these funds. And we have a balance of $69,351. Okay, is there a motion for that? Okay, Emily moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Yep. Okay, any discussion or questions?
Remind me again how much the backhoe is, or how much a backhoe would be?
Yeah.
105,000, the quotation from Beauregard says.
How much was it?
105.
105, okay. So the rest of it's going to come out of the budget? Martha, a selectman?
Right,
Yes.
Okay.
exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask a wise Alec question? Can you take any of the money out of the capital reserve fund? We just put $130,000 in before we raise taxes on a backhoe?
We should mention that the selectmen are looking at purchasing a used backhoe rather than a new one. Ex-selectman Iacavazzi is looking at various quotes for the highway department. We don't anticipate that it'll actually be the 100,000 that's quoted.
So just from a tactical standpoint, that major road work capital reserve fund is specifically earmarked for that. We can't use that money, right?
Right.
Okay, any further questions on Article 10? Did we have a motion on that?
Yes, you did.
Great. Okay, any further questions before we vote? Martha, would you read the roll?
Ted Connors,
Yes.
Samara Robertson, Emily Savinelli,
Yes.
John Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ellen Wilson,
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner,
Yes.
William Wright, Brandon Arsenal,
No.
John Lamson.
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Article 11. They could have a motion we're going to raise and appropriate 15,000 to purchase this, again, outright purchase, not a capital reserve, to purchase gym equipment to replace and expand existing equipment by the fire department. Is there a motion on that? Emily moves. Is there a second? Alan seconds. Okay, any discussion on this?
Another wise question. Do you guys have any means to raise any funds for extra wants like this type of stuff? This is important things, but they're also kind of want. Do you guys have run any fundraisers in order to be able to do this kind of stuff, or anything besides taxpayer revenue?
No, so at this time, no. The department used to have an association, but previous administrations had closed it. So we are actually in the process of actively getting it back going. So the equipment that we do have, though, most of it was donated already. but it was used and it's pretty abused right now. The only thing that has been purchased, and it was, I believe, 5 years ago, was a treadmill. Other than that, everything we have, which isn't much, is people brought in from home or was donated right now that we have.
We did have an avenue a few years ago. There was a gym in town 2 years ago. And a membership for the entire department was feasible and reasonable and made sense. We don't have to maintain equipment. Unfortunately, the gym didn't survive more than 9 months. And at this point, with current COVID situations, gyms are really not the place we really want to be sending our members for unnecessary exposure risks. And then they're not at work, and then we're paying overtime. But we do have a policy that people have to work out at some form or another, 20 minutes a shift. So we're trying to facilitate the policy to keep people fit and healthy.
EJ, you mentioned that you might be getting the band back together on getting some fundraisers going, some boosters. Do you have a plan for that in 2021? And if so, what are you going to use the money on?
We have nothing right now. It's just literally trying to get the association back up and running. Because when we originally had started trying to get it back up, we were told several things from the IRS, from the state, and some other things. And then things didn't work out quite as easy as we were hoping it was going to be. So we've got to have to go through some more steps to be able to get it going again. So it's still a work in progress. And as of right now, with everything going on, we don't have anything set up as far as fundraisers or anything like that right now.
When you
can
don't
get it
file
going,
tax
I think?
paperwork for 6 years, the IRS is a little unwilling to work with you right away. It's a little bit more of a process.
Yeah.
How did you pick the 15 grand?
So essentially, I have a person in the house, actually two people that one of them has a background in physical training, physical education stuff. So essentially, I had her build me a gym that would hit all the marks that we would need based off of our job performance requirements to get our specific to our job. To prevent, further injuries and get the most bang for the buck, not just go out and buy a bunch of free weights and just have them laying around the floor that, nobody uses or whatever. So essentially that's where those numbers came from, was from building that gym.
Unfortunately, because of the size of some of us, it's commercially rated fitness equipment. Me on a treadmill, it's got to be a rugged one.
That's my case too.
Pat, you don't want industrial grade?
I should. They make a treadmill for elephants. We're kind of heading on that road. I'm kidding.
If I can ask a question, I see Chief Bilodeau's on here. Chief, do you guys have exercise equipment?
We do. And actually, this year we were going to put in for, last year we put in for a treadmill, but we didn't purchase it, obviously. So this year it's still in the budget, so we can purchase it. But we do have a full gym.
Is there any way you guys can get together? No chance. EJ, you guys don't like each other? Thought you guys were on the emergency management crew together.
And the only reason, and the chief can attribute that, we can't go into their building when nobody's there. So that's a big no-no.
Can they come into your building because it's always staffed?
What's that?
There is some potential to that, and we started a conversation, but it's very infant because we have some controlled substances and whatnot from the state that we can't just have open access to, which is why our doors are key fobbed, so I can tell who comes in and out.
I bet Chief Bilodeau's got some controlled substances in his locker too, in the evidence room. I mean,
new evidence lockers?
Yeah, the evidence lockers, not Chief's.
And Brandon, and that's why we don't want the fire department in here.
So since we have 2.4 million in the fund today, the Selectmen's Fund, can't we just use some money from that to fund this versus a separate fund for it?
Well, the selectman chooses how to take that 2.4 million and how to use it. It's not, that they can use that money, but it has to be in the budget.
I think
and they'll
it's
make that decision when they set the tax rate.
My opinion. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Brandon. I just
go
want
ahead.
to that the 2.3 million is our goal to keep in the fund so that the cash flow stays consistent and we're able to not borrow any money. So going below the 2.3 subjects us to having to take out a tax anticipation note.
So I think the state has a recommendation on the amount that should be kept in a fund for a town this size. And I thought it was less than a 2.4.
It absolutely is, but that those numbers unfortunately do not hold true for Newington's cash flow situation.
All right. I give my opinion on the 15,000. I think it's worthy. I think you guys deserve it. You need good exercise equipment. I just think you could be creative about it if you put some more effort into it besides just asking the taxpayers to raise 15,000 more dollars. So I'd be the first one to donate to you in money instead of used equipment. But I think you could do a community outreach type of thing, and I think people would support you. That's where I'm at.
Okay, any further discussion on this?
Chairman Lamson?
Yes, please, go ahead. The fire engineers.
Yes, Ann from the fire engineers here. What I would like to say is that firefighters have a requirement for fitness. It is part of their job. Past year, particularly with COVID, has been very stressful. The health of firefighters directly affects performance, staffing, health insurance claims, and the like. And for what has occurred, as Assistant Chief Moynihan said, with gyms, the outside access to this activity is just not safe and for a long time was not possible. So this is truly not a want. It's a necessity for part of their job. In fact, there is, and Chief Moynihan can speak to this, and a fitness requirement when they are on shift in the station. So I think you would automatically think that this is not a corporation that has a gym for employees and a pool and a cafeteria and those. It's not that type of an item. It's more of a work related item. In fact, that is what it is. So this fire engineer is absolutely in support of this item. And in the big picture, having just talked about, very large budgets, I don't view this as a lot of money. Thank you.
Okay.
Chief Moynihan, to add anything.
Awesome.
Any further questions or discussion on Article 11? All right. If not, Martha, would you read the roll? Okay. Can Eleanor do that? Oh, is it? Okay, we're reading the roll for Article 11.
Eleanor looks frozen.
Yeah, she's not moving.
I could, I find
Can
my
we
list
send
of
the
members
ambulance
here.
over?
You got it?
Great, Ann brought up a pool, now everybody's leaving.
Yeah, okay, listen up.
Town pool is back.
Yeah.
Did we?
Go ahead, use my come up here.
All right, Emily Savinelli,
Yes.
John Chamberlain,
No.
Alan Wilson,
Yes.
Jennifer Kemp Weiner,
Yes.
Bill Wright,
Yes.
Brandon Arsenault,
No.
and John Lamson.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, folks, let's see, we're now on to Article 12. This is $10,000 in the Fire Department Communication Capital Reserve Fund. Current balance is 24,669. Can I have a motion for that?
Moved.
Okay, second? From Emily. All right, thank you. Any discussion on Article 12?
Chief, what's the cap on this one? Similar to
Your
the,
current balance isn't 24,000.
So the current balance that's on there, it says 24,669, but we in December purchased 16,000, just over $16,000 worth of equipment. So it's down to $8,400. The cap on this though, 20,000.
okay. Can we, this is Article 13 or 12?
12.
So 10K. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on Article 12? All right, if not, can we read the roll now, Martha? Are you live?
You get the roll?
I got it. Hold on, bear with me. All righty, Ted Connors. Emily Savinelli,
Yes.
John Chamberlain,
Yes.
Alan Wilson,
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner,
Yes.
Bill Wright,
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal,
Yes.
and John Lamson.
Yes. Okay, good. Article 13. We're going to establish a police computer equipment capital reserve fund. And we're going to appropriate $10,000 to place in it. It's a new fund, so there's no balance. Articles recommended by the selectmen. I'll accept a motion to recommend. Okay, Brandon and Emily seconds this time. Okay, any discussion, questions?
One for Chief. Now, when we make a capital reserve fund, it's to not be expended in the year, the fiscal year. So do you have plans on spending this year, or what are you saving for?
No, I do not plan on spending it this year. So our server right now is pretty much going out. We have a couple more years on it. So that's what I plan on doing, is replacing our server. So I anticipate 2 or 3 years with that. And what I'd like to do is cap it out at 30 because of just possible anticipation of, I know we were talking at the last budget meeting regarding unfunded and funded, possibly unfunded mandates or funded mandates from the state regarding body cameras. So I just want to be prepared ahead of time, and I think that's appropriate.
So that's in there, that's body cameras as well?
No. This would just be part of the server because with the body cameras, we need a separate server. So I'm just anticipating ahead of time.
Gotcha.
Any further discussion on Article 13? All right, if you could read the roll?
John Lamson,
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal,
Yes.
William Wright,
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner,
Yes.
Alan Wilson,
Yes.
John Chamberlain,
Yes.
Emily Savinelli,
Yes.
Ted Connors.
Yes.
It's a vote.
Okay, thank you. Article 14 is to raise $10,000, the capital reserve fund for town generators. Balance is about 51,000. Would I have a motion to that effect?
Motion.
From Jennifer, a second? There it is from Emily. Okay, any questions or discussion on Article 14?
How much is the generator again? And I think we talked about this before, but just what are we
40.
contributing?
40,000?
30,000, did you say?
40.
40. 40?
Okay, how many generators
have-
are we maintaining?
Yeah, how many? Because we have almost 51 in there now, right?
3?
We have police, fire, town hall, and highway. 4.
4 generators, okay.
And how much did we spend and what's the fund balance? 50,000, and what did we spend this year?
We're concerned about the police department generator. Over the last year, we've had 2 bad episodes of the generator not turning on when the power went off. And then secondly, not switching back the power to the building when the power was restored. Our repair company so far has not had any luck repairing it. So that would be a $40,000 expenditure.
How old is it?
I don't have those numbers, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mike?
Chief? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so the generators, I believe were purchased after 9/11. So you're looking at anywhere between 2001 and 2004, I think. The issue, one of the main issues with our generator is, geez, last year it caught on fire, or this year I think it caught on fire. We've been putting Band-Aids on it the whole time, and in looking at this warrant article, I really do wish it was a little more in the aspect of the police department's the emergency operating center. So if something happens here in town, everybody comes here, the fire department, well, the administration with the fire department, other state entities will come here and we formulate a plan. And just like Martha said, this year, it's happened more than once, is every time we have a power outage, our generator dies. There's a misconnect between switching on the power from inside to the generator. Kevin Kelly's been working on it diligently with generator connections. And actually we have tomorrow, somebody's coming out from Milton to look at it to see if, number one, if we can salvage it. And number two, probably what the cost of a new one's going to be for the department. And I know the budget committee can't do anything now, but I think definitely in the future, we have to look at putting more money into the generators for the town, just in case we have just for readiness, just in case we have a catastrophic incident, so.
You know, it's funny though, because Chief, all you're talking about is a switching issue.
Yeah, and
right,
exactly. I fully agree with you. And we've had generator connections come out numerous times. I don't know if it's the service repairmen that aren't sure what they're doing. But it just seemed, it's not just the connection. Like I said, it caught on fire last year because it was leaking fluids, and it's actually connected to gas. So if it's catching on fire, gee, we could get a new police department.
Here's your ticket.
Fire department's too close.
Well, there's enough money in there to replace the whole thing if that's what has to happen.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm just saying, looking forward to it, because if we, again, depending on the cost of a generator, we would deplete that with one generator. And we continue to look out there to see what there are for grants, to see what's available if we can do it. And unfortunately, you know as well as I do that. I'm sorry, John Chamberlain's cat just distracted me. There's not that many grants out there, but we continue to look at it between us and myself and the fire department. We continue to look for grants. So.
Okay. Any other questions from any person? Okay. I mean, once again, this isn't a request to specifically buy a generator now. It's a request for the money in case we need to. I kind of agree with Brandon that, a diesel is the biggest part of a generator, at least half of it, and you'd think that would still have life left in it. But sometimes it's hard to repair something if it's too far gone. I know that. Any further discussions?
Responded
on Article
when it went up on fire. and it wasn't the actual generator side of it. It was the engine side of it that caught fire. So
Yeah.
they were able to rebuild it and continue it running, but it melted a lot of stuff. So the fact that it's still functional is fairly impressive, because I would have condemned it right then and there.
Yeah, we are
Even
fire.
still though, but, and I'm no generator expert, but if you needed to replace the actual motor and the engine that generates electricity, that's one thing. It's not like a complete generator install where you got to wire the whole thing, put an automatic transfer switch in, get it into the panel, duplicate the circuits. It's not like that. You would be replacing literally the box outside. So you still think it's $40,000 for the box outside?
Again, I'm not sure on the cost.
I mean,
With it-
I agree with you, Chief. I think it would be that if you were to say, hey, here's the police station, put a generator system in, it'd be $40,000.
'cause I will
Does anybody
say,
have any data on that?
again, Kevin Kelly, I know has been working on it, and tomorrow we'll probably have more answers for you when Milton comes in and looks at it. But I know a couple of years ago, they pretty much rebuilt the engine to it. And 2 years later, we're dealing with other issues with it, so.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Was that John? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of missed the earlier part of the conversation. We're talking about the town generator now? Or,
Police department.
oh, the police department has their own generator.
Yes.
Has it ever been used? Is it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be used when the power goes out, but we're having issues not only with the age of the generator, the motor on it, but also the transfer switch.
Right, but I'm just kind of curious if it's ever been used. I mean, what's the history of its use?
Well, I know you missed this, and I'll talk about it. The police department is the emergency operations center for the town. So our upstairs where I am right now is equipped for if there's something happens.
I understand its purpose. I'm asking what the history of its use is.
I've been here 4 years and we haven't used it for any type of emergency.
So I guess we're getting pretty consistent power, because I mean, I actually get power outages at my house fairly, I wouldn't say frequently, but they happen. Don't you get power outages at the police department too?
Yeah. Oh, we definitely do. We probably get, 2 or 3 a year. And
Right, that's what it's like. So in that situation, what do? Run outside and turn the power generator on, or you just simply live through it?
well, what happened the last couple of times is we just had to live through it and call the generator company to come out and fix it.
I see. So the generator is sort of an idea, but it isn't actually being used, because it seems to me like the scenario that you really use it in was when there's a big long power outage, but most of the power outages we have are like these sort of, half an hour power outages or hour power outages, where it wouldn't even like start fooling around with the generator wouldn't even make sense at that point. Right. So
Do you mind if I speak real quick?
No, go ahead.
Sure.
Mr. Chamberlain, just so you're aware, both the fire department and the police department, the generators are built in an automatic standby. So if we have a power outage that lasts longer than 30 seconds, the generator kicks in and provides power until power is restored automatically, or at least it should automatically. The police station hasn't been functioning that way. On the fire station, if we don't have a generator that kicks on in 30 seconds, we can't open the garage doors. We can't get out of the building, never mind receive dispatch or anything else. So they're pretty essential that there's no real time lapse. There's no manpower involved in turning it on. It does it on its own when we lose power. There's a sensor in there. The police department is just having some significant issues with an older generator and sensing the power.
you can't open your garage doors?
We could manually, but a 12-foot tall garage door takes about 10 minutes to open by hand with a cable. It's not a simple, home style garage door. Our garage doors weigh several hundred pounds. So it's a chain. So you have to pull a chain like a chain fall. So it's not expeditious at all. Your house would be fairly well involved if you got hit by lightning and we lost power at the same time without a generator.
I see.
That
was my question.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, this is the generator, it's Article 13.
What are we on?
If we're ready to vote, please computer, I'm sorry. We're on
It's Article 14.
Article 14. We're ready to vote on Article 14? Okay, if you could read the roll.
Ted Connor. James Belanger. Emily Savinelli.
Yes.
John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Alan Wilson.
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner.
Yes.
William Wright.
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal.
No.
John Lamson.
Yes.
The vote.
Okay, thank you. And the next one is Article, let's see, 15. We're looking for $5,000 in the police department radio electronic reserve. We've got 2,000 there already. Could I have a motion on Article 15? I get a motion from Emily and a second from anyone. Brandon, thank you. Any discussion on Article 15?
Can you guys just let me know the fund balance and what the cap is, Chief?
The fund balance right now is $10,037.98, and I'm looking at capping it at 25K.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, are we ready to vote? Okay, Martha, can you read the roll?
Ted Connor.
Yes.
Emily Savinelli.
Yes.
John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Alan Wilson.
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner.
Yes.
William Wright.
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal.
Yes.
John Lamson.
Yes. Okay, thank you. The next one is Article 16. Establish a replacement of major fire department equipment capital reserve fund. And okay, for broken and outdated equipment with a replacement cost that exceeds $2,500 to raise $5,000 for that purpose. So this would be a new fund to put start it with $5,000. Major equipment over $2,500. Did I have a motion to that effect? Brandon, and a second. Emily.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this or questions on Article 16?
Is there a similar category, Chief? I thought we had a different equipment, major equipment category, or capital reserve.
A couple times. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
I thought we had a kind of a similar capital reserve fund for major equipment, no?
We do for major medical. It's with the ambulance.
Medical equipment.
Medical, not, so that's ambulance, not fire.
Correct. Yep. That's like the defibrillator, stretcher, or anything like that, or that bigger equipment.
Is there a real benefit to breaking it out, John, Chairman?
You can have a combined fund. Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't combine them.
What's the benefits to the engineers and chief?
So just so you're aware, the major medical is also the ambulance replacement fund. It's already one fund because generally we purchase major medical equipment with the ambulance to outfit that new ambulance when it comes in. So it would be, combining that would be a different.
Pat, we separated something last year.
That was the replacement and repair of the engine.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions? All right, if you would read the roll.
Yes.
Emily Savinelli.
Yes.
John Chamberlain.
Yes.
Alan Wilson.
Yes.
Jennifer Kent Weiner.
Yes.
William Wright.
Yes.
Brandon Arsenal.
Yes.
John Lamson.
Yes. Okay, that's Article 16. That is the end of the articles. We now have an extra thing. If last week when we were talking about town buildings, we only approved the administrative portion of that. This doesn't affect the bottom line of the selectmen's budget, but it's a subcategory we didn't vote on, and that's the town buildings budget approval. And that amount is $220,290. If I could have a motion for that. we can discuss it. From Brandon, is there a second? From Emily? Okay, thank you. Maybe the selectman could give us a brief rundown on what this is?
Not good audio, Martha.
No, they've had some,
Sorry, we've lost Wi-Fi over here.
I'll get the
we're
generator
trying
fired up.
The town buildings have been briefly discussed by the committee over the course of your meetings. I believe you've discussed the fire department with the fire department.
mhm.
And, but in a nutshell, the town hall and all of the buildings have an LED conversion component in their maintenance lines to save the town the funding of heavy funding of electricity. That's a total cost to the town of $18,000. We're getting a grant for the other $18,000, and it will be paid off in 3 years.
Okay. If I can ask a question, Chairman, the town garage, you guys got a generator over there. Do you mind if I ask why?
In the event of winter conditions, the town garage would need to be up and running. It's
Okay, so you get this
emergency operations. I'm
You get a
sorry.
capital reserve fund for generator repairs and stuff like that. Then you have maintenance, including generator repair, to the tune of $8,000 on the town garage, fire alarm, security system, septic system, LED conversion. So the LED conversion's obviously in there, but
The capital
seems like a,
reserve is for generator replacement. The regular maintenance on the generators comes out of that maintenance line.
boy. Thank you, Eleanor.
Welcome.
So you just, okay, so we split the LED conversion up by 3.
The, maybe, I see $220,000 here. Now, what are the big projects that's gonna go to?
Besides the LED conversion, we have a light pole in the town hall parking lot that needs to have a new LED head put in it. We have a problem with not enough auditorium outlets. We need to eliminate a safety trip hazard of extension cords out there. Those are the big projects at town hall. At the old town hall, the exterior is in need of paint, and we need to conduct fire extinguisher testing this year. Those are the main items for Old Town Hall. Then if you move to Meeting House, the painting of the front door and the window fans needs to take place. And fire station, there's much that needs to be done at the fire station. The window sills and sashes need to be replaced. The downstairs bathroom renovation needs to occur. On the admin side of the building, we've discussed the asbestos tile removal, and in accordance with the consultant's report, we are proposing to hire an architect to design a second floor addition.
Okay, so all that's coming out of that line item.
Right, and then for police station, we need to do garage waterproofing as well as brick sealing the building. And we need to place a fence around the generator. And there's some Sally Port ceiling repair that needs to take place.
Okay.
Finally, the old parsonage has some miscellaneous repairs from various items of deterioration that need to be fixed.
Is there any chance we can get the fire department to participate in the fire extinguisher certification or the old parsonage fire alarm testing without charging the town?
NFPA standard makes it a third party. We're unfortunately not certified or capable of doing that for reasons of liability.
Good answer, Pat.
Yeah, Emily?
Yeah, I just was curious if there was any plans in the future for doing some sort of centralization of the heating cost or the heating, I mean, you know, like the old town hall. I don't know how much that was used last year, but how are we keeping track of, we have all these older buildings that we're heating, right? How are we keeping track of what temperature, we have technology now that can tell us what temperature a building is at. I'm just curious if there are any plans to perhaps look at doing something like that that would save money if we were able to keep a building a little bit cooler and have that ability to see what the temperature is throughout the winter. And then one other point to that same thing is that I noticed that the fire station and the police station seem to have used significantly less of their heating and gas, at least through the end of November, as compared to some of the other buildings. So I didn't know, I mean, I can't imagine that they're better insulated than, say the town hall. So I just didn't know if there were any, plans to try to shore up some of this heating cost.
We can have a further report to the committee at your public hearing or before.
I mean, it was, geez, you guys got a mess on your hands as far as the selectmen go, with a 25% increase in building maintenance budget for the buildings around here. What's the master plan for controlling this? You're up 25%.
Brandon, can you tell us where you're seeing the 25%?
Town buildings, grand total, percent change to 2020 approved budget, 24.99. You're up from 217,973 to 256,113.
There are a great deal of projects that have been put off at the fire station that need to be accomplished. And that's a large chunk of the increase, as well as, of course, the LED project, which will save us money.
Yeah, the LED project's fun. That's good. That worked on the town light posts and stuff like that. That was a good expenditure. Totally forgiven. But we were sold a bad bill of goods on this fire station because this first of all, the construction went over budget. Plus, it was supposed to include probably some of this asbestos tile removal when you did the bathroom up to ADA compliance. Now it's in this budget, and it's an over. You overspent on the warrant article. So again, I guess my point earlier was that, about the gym and was that how come it's over the fire trucks is, everybody says, well, it was this and that. And then, but, and then the taxpayers take all the burden. That's where the buck really stops, is the taxpayer pay for it. And it's kind of the same thing here. You get a 25% increase here. You overspent the warrant article on the construction on the fire department. It's kind of like, well, wait, how did everybody that lives in this town become responsible for a 25% increase?
Well, probably part of it is that some of the stuff that hasn't been done for years, Brandon. We're trying to catch up. We're going through it judiciously as we can. We held off on some of it last year because of the COVID and trying to save money. This year, we got the 3 or 4 years ago, we waterproofed the town hall because it was leaking so badly. We should have done the police station at the same time, but we held back because of expenses and like that. We can play the game, keep putting it off, but as you know, when you put things off, they cost you a hell of a lot more in the end.
Yeah, it keeps coming. I hear you there. It's just, it always seems like it's,
It's something that we don't relish to do this. We try to do it and try to keep it down. But we get to a point that, we're penny wise and pound foolish.
Well, yeah, yes and no, Chairman. But I mean, you got You get a fence going around a generator for $4,000. That been bid out?
Yes.
I'll do it for 2,000.
I'll do it for
Good.
500.
I'll call you next time.
I mean, what kind of fence you putting up?
The police chief, are you still on the call, Chief Billadu?
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's back. I just saw him come off mute. He's back.
He's
There
back.
he is.
I apologize. I was complaining about Brandon voting no on everything.
Yeah, it turns out, you know, if
So I
that wasn't
totally-
what you, yeah,
I totally missed the conversation. So just refresh me. I'm sorry.
you putting a $4,000 gold fence around a generator at the police department?
Yes, it's 14 karat gold. No, I'm sorry.
How do you spend $4,000 fence?
No, I'm sorry. I'm missing where I'm in and out here.
The line item for the maintenance and repairs, line item is 430 under the police station buildings fund, and you got fence around generator, $4,000.
Yeah, so we've been looking at that since I came here. And one of the reasons is because going through accreditation, that's one of the standards regarding any type of, especially us being an EOC, that there's a fence around the generator that deter people from sabotaging the generator. So I'm actually looking into that right now as we're doing our accreditation process, because right now we have outside video camera. So I'm hoping where the video camera is right now, that would cover the aspect of us technically securing it, even though it's not a physical structure around it. So if that helps you out a little
I
bit.
think that would be worthwhile. Like, it seems like I agree with Brandon, $4,000 for a fence around a generator is kind of redundant.
Yeah.
You know, it's at the police station, is, you say you got a camera.
Well, and that's what I'm hoping will fall under the guidelines for accreditation.
Yeah, in the, don't these things have lockable covers?
They do,
Right.
but they're not, I mean, you're not looking at a padlock, you're looking just at a slide key, a key that, and then
That's a
the
key.
access slide out.
Yeah. I mean, it's just as hard as climbing a fence, maybe harder. So, I
I
mean,
mean, does it need to be ballistics grade? You know, at some point, it's getting a little ridiculous, right?
Just gotta make sure the fire department has access to put the fire out, that's all.
You're right, yeah.
I think they're underestimating the capabilities of the saboteurs that we have in Newington.
This is getting off the
I
rails.
mean,
Yeah, okay. But
I
anyway,
mean, if they think that a Newington saboteur can be stopped by a mere fence, well,
yeah, try to be creative on that one, Chief. Save us some money.
Yeah, I'll look to see, again, I'll look to see what that standard is, and
Yeah.
I mean, $4,000, I wasn't even part of that discussion. So I'm not
Okay.
sure which fence company they're looking at or who's doing it, so.
Right.
Okay, what about garage waterproofing, Chief? Can you explain that one?
The garage waterproofing.
That's the brick ceiling that we talked about, Brandon. That's when we did, the bricks are porous and they absorb water and they leak inside and they deteriorate the mortar. So we did that at the town hall and we wanted to do it. We put it off. That's where we got it in there this year to do it.
Well, you've got brick ceiling in here separately, Ted, for 10,800. The garage waterproofing's 3,000.
Yeah, hold
Right.
on.
Right,
that's
part is for the station and part is for the garage.
Yeah, the outside garage. I'm sorry, Brandon. It's the outside garage. Right now, we have cracks. We have cracks in the foundation that, so we do have a little water leaks coming in around the edges. And what we're hoping for is obviously to fix that right off the bat, because we do have bulk evidence storage out in the garage, and we also have other equipment. And obviously we don't want to get that wet. So looking at a company coming over to do that. And again, I apologize. That was, we talked about that last year and I didn't know it was in the line item this year.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion on the town building budget? Yes,
Yeah,
Emily?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the fire station one more time because I know I asked this question last week, but it wasn't in the context of talking about the town buildings. So if we were to spend the $70,000 that's proposed this year on these items, we're not anticipating any, another $70,000 worth of repairs next year, correct? Or can someone speak to that?
No, it's just the 70,000. We'll have a portion of that next year, but 70,000 is just to get all that stuff that was recommended, a lot of it in that report.
So what's the portion next year? Do we have an idea on that you just referenced?
I don't,
Chief, could you speak to
Yes,
other
Senator.
projects? I recall there were more.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, there's a laundry list of items that we have over here between the windows, the bathrooms. We're gonna need paint at some point. We're gonna need a roof down the road. We'll have to figure out something as far as insulation wise, what wants to be done about that. It's just, and then on top of that, one of the other issues that we have that as part of that report is that we need extra room in the building to park apparatus. And we have absolutely no room to expand inside anymore for parking apparatus. So that's gonna be another major something coming down the road at some point.
Yeah, we discussed this last year too. We've got issues with the fire station.
Yeah.
Something we need to think about, try to do it as economically as possible.
Absolutely.
But right now we're discussing the current proposed building maintenance. A big chunk of it will be the fire department to try to keep that 60-year-old building going. Any further discussion on it? Yes, Brandon?
John, I'd like to actually make a motion. I'm gonna move to amend the bottom line that we vote on this to $235,973, which is carrying forward, flatlining the 2020 budget and adding the $18,000 of good investment of LED retrofit in, and move and make a movement to amend the bottom line to $235,973. I know that there's projects, but I think we can make it happen.
So
Can you clarify that, Brandon?
Yeah, Martha, do you have a specific question? It might
Yeah,
have cut out.
the committee, the original motion was 220,290.
So I haven't, sorry, Martha, I have in my binder 256,113.
That's right.
Okay, and that, I'm sorry. Right, that includes town buildings administration?
Yeah.
So that's a separate budget that you've already voted on. The 220 that is proposed is all of the buildings.
Okay, I got you. I can do a quick math. Hold on one second.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's confusing. So I'm at.
No, he wants plus 18.
Where did I put my pen?
I think. Yeah, that's right.
Are you looking for the 2020 town buildings only total?
Yep, I've got it though. I subtracted the 2020 administration from the 2020 budget. Okay. So I think what I'm looking for is to amend what we voted on, which was the 220, 290 to 200, 150.
200, 150,
Which
$200,000,
is the,
$150. Okay.
yes,
Right.
which is the buildings budget, or it's a total budget less the administration plus 18,000
Okay.
for the
good.
LED
Yeah.
retrofit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, any, do I have a second on the amendment?
I second.
Okay, any discussion on the amendment? Okay, this will have to be 2 votes. I think it's the quickest is to go for 2. So we'll vote the amendment and then we'll vote whatever sum remains after that. So if we're ready now, we're going to vote on the amendment. If Martha would call the roll, the amendment is reducing the amount to 200,000, 150.
Ted,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Bill, Brandon,
Yes.
John.
Yes. Okay, now if there's any further discussion, if not, we're just going to basically revote this for the main amount. So this is a yes or no on this line item. The new item is 200,150. Martha, can you read the roll again?
Ted,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
John Chamberlain, Alan,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Bill, Brandon,
Yes.
John.
Yes. Okay, good. Well, we saved another $20,000. It's hard work. Appreciate it. Any other business? I have one in that the town clerk has opened registrations for elected office, and 3 of us are coming up this year. It's myself, William Wright, and I'm sorry, it's
Sandy Sweeney.
Sandy Sweeney, John Lamson, and we have another one. Is that yeah, Savinelli?
No, not Emily.
I'm sorry. How did I misread that? It's just 2 of us. Then. I'm sorry, Wright. I thought they were in column. William Wright, Sandy Sweeney, and John Lamson. Okay, those are the 3 coming up. I've already signed up. I won't. Bill, Bill and Sandy can decide, but it's fine to have more people sign up. I'd rather have more people sign up than not enough. If we don't get 3 people running, then we will have to. We have the power to, within the board, to elect another member. I want to keep 9 people on the board, which is what we're, established to have. Just that piece. Any other new business?
John,
Yes.
I have one. I CC'd you on an email earlier this week, or actually, I'm sorry, the latter half of last week on the Board of Selectmen concerning encumbering the $140,000 that the budget was increased at town meeting to fund the prospect of a safety lane or a bike lane. It was actually called a bike lane to the state. Well, I haven't received an official response, but I did get to talk to Chairman Connors today concerning what I heard in the public hearing in the town meeting as a guarantee that if it wasn't spent during the year of 2020, that the money would be returned to the general fund. On December 31st, per the selectmen's minutes, the money was voted to be encumbered into 2021. I talked to Chairman Connors today, and I let him know how maybe an unintended consequence of those decisions when they happen are that it really undermines all the volunteer hours and time and effort that we put into trying to save money. And, sometimes the bad blood and wars we create with our neighbors over their salaries or their budgets or things alike. And that undoing that, I took serious offense to. And moreover, that we didn't have I don't have any problem with a safety lane or a bike lane. It's not in my purview. We're just talking about money. I more had a problem with the way that it was voted. Also, I had a problem with the way that the money was encumbered after we had talked about the process of if it hadn't gone through. I said my personal opinion, which isn't reflected of the budget committee, that the proper way to probably do that would have been to return the money to the general fund after it wasn't spent in 2020, and that they should apply for a warrant article within town in order to raise the funds again, and specifically allow the public to have a vote on it instead of kind of a shotgun meeting at town meeting. Chairman Connors heard my concerns and said that the Board of Selectmen would reconsider their decision to encumber the funds. Just so we know.
He and I had that conversation, and we're gonna happy to do that. And I'll bring it up to the selectmen at the next regular meeting.
Okay, good. I think that should be in our minutes, Eleanor. I'm sorry. Are you doing the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear the conversation? Or?
Yes.
You did. Great. Okay. All right. Any other new business to come before? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion. Yes, from Emily. A second. Do I see a second somewhere? Okay, from Brandon. That Alan Wilson too. Okay. Read the roll call if you would.
Ted,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alan,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
John.
Yes. Who's the other John? John Chamberlain. He wasn't here. He carried
Oh,
on.
he took
But
off on
he didn't
us.
vote. But anyway, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much, all. We've got, when is our next meeting? Is within a couple of weeks, the public hearing, right? 2 weeks, we have the public hearings. We have a week off. We didn't need our emergency meeting. Thank you very much, all. And look forward to seeing you. We will Zoom the public hearing as well. I know the town is trying to do something in live for the town meeting, but that's down the road. Okay, thanks very much, all. See you. You could talk to Ted.
Okay.
Basically, that he requested that they reconsider.
Right, and he would talk to us.
Yeah.
You scared me when you said, did you get that? And I was like.
That's fine. I did that. Feel that it was-
Right. So we didn't all fall asleep 20 minutes. Something like that.
No, certainly not.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Forgot.
Hello? It was. Yeah.
Hello?